Hey guys, welcome to the 57th C programming tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at generating random numbers. And generating random numbers requires a little bit more work than you might expect, but it's not too hard. However, there is a function inside of the stdlib file called rand, R-A-N-D, and this function will basically just generate a random number. So let's just go ahead right here and print out onto the screen 10 random numbers. So we're just going to go ahead and say for int I equals 0, I is less than 10, since we want to print out 10 random numbers, and then we're just going to go ahead and say printf and print out onto the screen whatever this random function returns. And the random function returns an integer. So we're just going to say %i for integer and the line right there, and then we just want to print out onto the screen whatever the random function returns. So rand for rand, and this function doesn't take any parameters. Alright, so basically what this function is going to do is just generate a random number, and then we're going to go ahead and print that number out onto the screen. Alright, so I run this right here, and as you can see, I get a bunch of random numbers. When I run this program again, we see that I get the same random numbers. So these aren't exactly random. Well, the reason that we're getting the same numbers is because the seed for our random number generator isn't changing. And the seed is basically just a number that the random number generating algorithm starts with to create these random numbers. And since the seed is the same every time, the numbers that it generates are the same. So basically what we need to do is change that seed. And to change the seed, all that we need to do is call the function called srand. So we can just say srand and then just pass through the seed for a random number generator. I'll just go ahead and pass through 10 for right now, and then when I run this, we should get different numbers this time. And as you can see, I do. But if I'm going to run this again, we see that we get the same numbers that we did the previous time that we ran this. And that's because, again, the seed isn't changing. It's always 10. So basically what we need to do is make the seed a different number every time that our program runs. Well, think about what number changes on your computer every time that you run a program. And that would be the time on your computer. So what we can do is actually make the seed for our random number generator the time on our computer. And to get the time on our computer down to milliseconds, it's pretty easy. We can just go ahead and use a function called time. And this function called time is located in the file called time. So just go up at the top right here and say include and then time.h. Alright, and now we just have access to that time function. Alright, so now we're just going to go ahead and make the seed of our random number generator time, and just pass through the time function null. In a later tutorial I'll cover exactly what this time function does, but for right now just think of it as getting the time down to milliseconds on your computer. Alright, so basically what this is going to do right here is just set the seed for our random number generator, the time on our computer, and then it's going to use that seed to generate all these other random numbers right here. So now every time that we run our program, we're going to get different random numbers. So I run this right here and we get these numbers. I run it again and we should get different numbers. Perfect. Let's say that we wanted to generate random numbers in between 0 and 9. Well, all that we need to do right here is just say modulus and then 10. So basically what this modulus is going to do is it's just going to go ahead and divide whatever number this random number generator returns by 10, and then it's going to give us the remainder. So let's say that this random number generator right here returns 315. Well, basically what it's going to do is just divide 315 by 10 and then give us the remainder. And the remainder of 315 divided by 10 is 5. So if this function were to return 315, then we just get a 5 out onto our screen. So it's guaranteed that we're going to get a number in between 0 and 9 whenever we do this. Alright, so I run this and let's just make sure that it works. Yep, as you can see, all these numbers right here are in between 0 and 9. Let's say I wanted to make it in between 0 and 99. Well, I can just go ahead right here and make this 100 and run this again, and you see that all of these numbers are in between 0 and 99. If I wanted to make it in between 0 and 49, I can just go ahead and put 50 right here, add my parenthesis back, and run this, Now all these numbers are in between 0 and 49. But let's say that we didn't want the minimum number to be 0. Well, all that we have to do is add to this operation right here. So let's say that we wanted to generate all the random numbers in between 1 and 50, not 0 and 49. Well, all that we have to do right here is just add 1 to this operation. So we can just go ahead and put parentheses around this, and then just go ahead and add 1. So let's say that this operation right here returned 49. Well, it's just going to add 1 to it and give us 50. And if this returns 0, we'd get 1. So now this operation is guaranteed to return a number in between 1 and 50. Alright, so I run this and perfect, it works. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial on generating random numbers. In the next tutorial, we're going to do a lot more with random number generation. Alright, so see you guys.